So I remember that, but the poor doggy must have felt awful because it can smell 70 times better than us. And it must have felt awful.
You know, it's all in, yeah. I mean, this is what it's healthier for the animal in many many ways. But it's like I said, you know, they're right about the garlic. The bloody vampires hate them because ticks hate them. Ticks will not bite you if you have garlic coming out of your body. They won't. They won't touch garlic. And I think, wow, vampires don't like garlic. Bloodsuckers don't like garlic. I'll have to look into leeches because you know leeches are another bloodsucker host, right? And see if, but it could be something to that with other hosts, right? That get into the bloodstream and viruses. Because we were talking about the COVID. You know, one of the doctors said that he, you know, and I think you even agreed to this too that it definitely is a life form. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, viruses and bacteria are not life forms because they're hosts," but other hosts are life forms. Ticks are hosts, right? And they are life forms. So I think just because you can't see it above a microscope doesn't mean it's not a life form.
It is the definition of life, which is one of the when I started teaching about science and
science.
the definition of life is pretty fluid, and so it should be able to reproduce as one of the independently reproduce as one of the terms, but viruses are the one thing that have cast a cloud of doubt about that definition because you can see it is so powerful. It's such a small little speck of dust, but it's got the world down to its knees. And this is a life changer. This is not only a life changer, it is a lifestyle changer.
Yes.
It is a lifestyle changer. I think I know some of my wife's friends refused to have children because they said this earth is overcrowded. I think this virus is a gentle reminder. If there was something, if just imagine if there was Ebola with the the transmissibility of coronavirus, we would be wiped out. We don't need an asteroid to come and hit the Earth to wipe us out. It would be something like this. And what we are doing is actually when we overpopulate the Earth, we are providing a kind of a base for this kind of organism to attack.
Right. And I agree with you on that. I think it's Mother Nature just reacting to a situation. But you know, if we take the attitude that we're overpopulated, something will reduce the population. It always does. Everything it does a cycle. Everything, and so we just cannot take that attitude. Reproduction is part of nature. Every part of nature, right down to the little bitty teeny tiny insect, right? Mosquitoes and things like that. And every insect seems to serve a purpose, right? It's taken me years to understand this and respect it. But like gnats come out early in the spring, and then all of a sudden they're irritating, right, in your face, and then they disappear. But they disappear with something worse. What? Mosquitoes? Because mosquitoes, the minute they disappear, I know mosquitoes are out because the mosquitoes hatch and they come and they eat the gnats first, and then they eat you. So, well, they don't really eat you, but you know,
they need the protein to make eggs.
Right.
It's the female mosquito that bites you, and it needs the protein. That's why it normally takes food from the sap of trees. The main food is the sap of trees, but when it needs protein, well, we're so many of us there. A rich source of protein.
Well, the way I also look at it, I might be a moving tree to them, right? They're gonna eat the sap off of anything that it's in front of them. It's kind of like a shark. I mean, it doesn't care what's there. Lunchtime, right?
Their feet are so sensitive. They can actually sense your blood flowing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they know exactly where to tap. It's just like we drill for oil, they drill for blood.
Exactly. I love that. We drill for oil.
But I think that also happens.
Most of the time.
but Kim, that also happens because a lot of people have that. I mean, what you can say, a good blood or a bad blood. I don't know, because some people, I mean, mosquito bites didn't happen to them because of the blood, and unfortunately, I got a lot of mosquito bites. So there's a saying in India that you have a sugary blood or you have a good blood. That's why they want to bite you, because it's different for different people.
I don't know what it is. Some people in my family get eaten more than others. There you go, hit it. There you go, bug out. I keep a bottle of Benadryl around. The secret, though, to and it's not 100%, but one of the secrets I learned is to let the mosquito finish its job. If it doesn't finish its job, in other words, don't hit it right away. Just let it finish and fly away. And the reason is, if it doesn't finish the job, then it's going to itch worse. So it will still give you a insect bite, but if it finishes the job, the itch is not as bad. But it's always, I keep Benadryl around that time of year. I just stock up on it, spray myself, and I try not to use a lot. I have learned a trick, though, around my house. This actually worked really good one year. I got a flower pot, a big flower pot that didn't have a hole in it, right? That I could fill with water. It was a big clay pot. And I filled it with water. And I put something in there that would make it like a little pump to make the water move so it wouldn't get algaed, right? But not move too hard, because you want the mosquitoes to go down to it. So you keep the movement down below, but you want the mosquitoes to come to the top. And this sounds bad, but I took that bug spray and I would spray it on top of the water, right? So that all the mosquitoes would fly into the pot all day long while I'm sitting outside enjoying the weather or doing something outside. My pot would be full of mosquitoes, but I'm not bitten because they were attracted to the water. So
there is a plant called pyrethrum. Pyrethrum, that plant, if you have it outside your house, it has beautiful yellow flowers. And if you have that, you have no mosquitoes.
Yeah, no mosquito. The lemon plants are the same. Lemon balm is the same way. But yeah,
and
they
also
call
if you cut lemon and then put some cloves in that lemon, 3 cloves in the lemon, cutted lemon, and put it in your room.
It helps. Yeah, so there's
especially.
But you don't necessarily. I mean, I did put bug spray in the water, but they would land in there and die. It was I found that by accident. I got really mad one time because there were so many mosquitoes and they were all cluttering into my little water pond. So I just sprayed in the water pond, right? And next thing I know, they're all dead. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant.
It's because there's a layer of oil which comes over. But with your spray, there's a layer of oil. And the larvae need to breathe air.
Right.
So when they come to the surface and this layer of oil is on there,
they can't breathe.
Yeah,
that's a good idea too. Just put oil in there. Maybe put some oil in there. But I want them to go in, so I'm not going to put like garlic in there or anything like that. But that's a good idea. Instead of the bug spray, use oil. I'm really trying to do things that does not kill a lot of the nature, and I was always afraid that the butterflies would fly down there and get sick or die. So, but yeah, that's a good. Oil might be better, and definitely.
The other thing was dragonflies. Dragonfly larvae eat mosquito larvae. So you find them. They sort of funny little things. You'll find them in. They lay the larvae goes inside water, and then it just eats up all the mosquito larvae.
I love dragonflies. We don't have enough of them on our property, but there's a lake not too far from here, and they should call it Dragonfly Lake because in the mornings when I would go do my 2.5 mile, there's a field of them, and it's so beautiful. Like it's like they come out and they just fly everywhere. It's a cloud of dragonflies. And
they've been around before the dinosaurs. Dragonflies have been around before the dinosaurs. I understand from one of the books in which I read, there's some as big as a bus.
Yeah. Depending on what country you go to, absolutely. Yeah, I've heard that. I've never seen them. It would
No, no,
scare
no.
me to see
This
one
was
that big.
in ancient times. Now they are not as that big, but they said that there was some as big as a bus. So,
I've seen them probably. This is the
yeah,
biggest. Yeah, I've seen them about this big. That's the biggest I've ever seen them. I don't know what created them to be that big. Their wingspans were beautiful though, and I have no idea what creates one to be bigger than the other. And I guess I need to read a book on that. But you're full of science. You research all of this, and
I just love science. I live for science.
I wish I lived for it. I love it. Okay, there's a difference. Those who live for it can research it and write the books for it. I love reading what the books write. So my mom was the nature person. God love her. She had the greenest thumb ever made. She could take something dead and somehow or another make it come to life again. And but anything she did and built, and just even little bitty gardens, right, just came alive with dragonflies and butterfly, everything. St. Francis had nothing on her. Like my mom's the saint of St. Francis. But I would kill everything. That was the biggest joke in our family is you give it to Kim and she's got a graveyard of plants, and my mom would resurrect whatever I killed. But
it's when I moved first to New Zealand, I'd lived in Africa, but I didn't know too much about gardening, so I didn't even know which were the weeds.
You know the truth. You have to let them grow and then decide, oh, that's a weed. That's what I do. Oh my God.
I remember telling this a lovely old Australian lady who was my neighbor. She was a very old lady. And I said, her name was Gertrude, short for Gertrude. And I said, Trudy, I've got this lovely plant here. I like it so much. And she said, that's a big weed. You need to get rid of it.
Hey, they grow. This is what I told somebody one time. It grows and it blooms.
It's just a very healthy plant.
That's right. They grow healthy. I don't know. You don't have to do anything for them, right? Dandelions, man. And you can make dandelion tea, but they grow everywhere. You don't have to do anything. But they grow when you even try to kill them. They keep growing.
Keep growing. Dandelion, actually, the word comes from tooth of a lion. If you look at the Dent de Lion, the French Dent de Lion, from that dandelion. And it's because the leaves have got teeth which look like the shape of a lion's tooth.
Oh, yes.
So that's how it got. Yeah, it can be a very annoying plant because it gets in the way of your lawnmower, but otherwise there's nothing wrong with it. And
if you cook it before it turns to seed, you can definitely use it for many, many medicinal purposes. It's not just a weed. It's medicinal purposes. It's not something that I want to intentionally grow, but it never grows where I want it to. It grows where it wants to. It grows, like you said, in the lawn or in my walk paths. It's not growing where I want it to harvest it, but
it's not its own algorithm. It just decides that it doesn't want to be close to certain other plants, and it just goes there. The spread is by the wind, so it goes wherever.
Another plant that just mind boggles me is mint. Right? It is one of those that will take over a garden for whatever reason.
Really fast.
Real fast. But if you try to put it in a pot and just hope that it just it dies.
It dies.
Because I tried. Now I'll grow it in big pots, right? Real big pots. But for whatever reason, if I try to grow it like in a hanging pot and I just want mint hanging, it won't survive. But you put it in the ground, it takes over. You can't kill it.
when you talked about your mom, I was thinking about my grandmom, who taught me a lesson which till today I've never been able to fathom how she did it. We had a little bungalow, which my grandfather had built, and there was this tree there, which suddenly dried up. And then my grandma said, "Dig it up. There's going to be a frog at the bottom of it." And I said, "Grandma, there can't be. That ground is flat. There's no hole. There's nothing. It can't be there." My cousin, he also said, "Grandmother can't be." And he lived there with her, His parents were in a faraway place where there were no good schools. So he lived with her and she looked after him. And so she said, "No, you dig it up." And we dug it up. And there was a huge dark toad right at the bottom of that thing. I have no idea how the toad got underneath that plant. It was dry ground on top, but the toad had got right underneath it.
Wow.
And when we dug it out, that thing just popped off. It was so surprised to see that we discovered it, and it just hopped off.
There's something to be said about those wives' tales, the old women, we know, I guess because we've just seen enough. Who knows? She's probably dug up a bunch of dead trees and always found an old toad. What a lovely story, though. Oh my gosh, I love it.
I have no idea how that happened. I have no idea till today.
What are you sharing?
I wanted to show a video. It happened in Italy. I don't know the sources, but it's running on YouTube. And let's see the video, then we can discuss. It's little Spain's, so be open for shock if you are not comfortable.
Okay, no worries.
Just
esa onda. Espérate, me tengo que acercar. ¿Qué? Uy. Loco, ¿qué será eso? No entiendo. ¿Qué es eso? Nunca había visto eso. Se está subiendo. Suave, que no me quiero ahorita. Nunca había visto eso.
Oh my gosh. This isn't a movie?
no, this is not a movie. This is a video taken from a person in Italy. And the video, they recorded the video on 22nd March 2020 during the lockdown.
Oh my gosh. Can you play that back? Oh my gosh. That's scary.
And I was looking for a video from Italy, and I was like, "What is this?" And I was shocked, and I saw it multiple times, and then I tried to watch it on a news. I didn't find any news, and I was like, I don't know what is it, and because it's not look fake basically, it's look real, but I don't know what is it. Yeah.
I thought it was a man who
that is scary.
Yeah.
And it's a man. It looks like a.
Yeah, but you can't support the body on wings. Even if you have wings, you can't. You did. Somebody tried with Icarus or regular.
The wingspan on that. Scientifically, that's what I was looking at. It almost looked like something that you saw in Wizard of Oz, like the monkey, right? Because it looked like it had more than just a claw body, right?
Yeah.
An avian body, right? It did not look like a natural avian body. So can we see that again? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'll play it again.
Today is the last beautiful day we're going to have in North Carolina. The storm is going to hit late this afternoon on the coast, and it's going to come inland for 5 days. So I've got the window open for a reason.
Esa onda.
Can you make it big?
Me tengo que acercar. ¿Qué?
That's a shadow behind.
¿Será eso? No entiendo.
It's in Italy, so I think we have to ask Roboto. What is this?
It's not a robot. A robot can't move that.
Roboto, the attorney from Italy.
Se está subiendo. Suave, que no me pierda de vista. Wow. Nunca había visto eso.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Qué raro. Uy, se fue, miércoles.
Okay, so that just goes to show you we don't know everything that exists on this earth. And I think here's what I think. If we got all of these unusual viruses that are killing us, we've unearthed something. It's like you were mentioning earlier, we drill for oil. And I think we just drilled into a core that, or opened up a cave, because that's what we do, right? And maybe somebody found, has anyone watched Jurassic Park?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they know for a fact that a lot of things are still living inside of the crystallized
Amber.
Yeah, the tree.
You can get DNA from. Yeah.
And that you can get DNA from that. Nothing's saying that somebody hasn't played Jurassic Park and recreate avionics, especially, right? That's probably the easiest to recreate. I'm not a scientist, but this is something I read. Is you can recreate a lot with the egg, right? The DNA from one egg to another. We do this with reptiles. So we know frogs, we can replicate so many things with frogs that we're literally taking microchips and taking DNA from frogs into microchips to regrow skins and things like that. So everything that we've read about in science fiction book is actually happening. I've actually been in to one of those labs, and it's pretty interesting to see some of this microchip technology. Everybody says, Kim, what is that microchip you had? Well, if you actually knew what that microchip was, it would freak you out, some of the work that they're doing. But that's freaky. But who's to say somebody didn't replicate something that was found in one of the ambers, right? And I don't think they're doing it for a Jurassic Park situation. I think that would be kind of crazy, but that was freaky. Is that mammal, like man-eating beast?
It could well be some kind of chimera created by gene editing,
So, and we're very sure that did not come from a movie.
No, it's not a movie, I think. It looks real in the background.
It doesn't look like from a movie, but, with...
Yeah, it looked like from a video camera.
With a CGI, things can be done. So I don't know what this is. If I knew the source, then yes, I might say, okay, if this is certifiably a member of the public, yes, then I would say, fine, I'm concerned. But if it is something just produced by somebody and nobody's clear who it is, it could well be CGI,
Well, let's talk about that too. Are there any other videos? It probably is hard to say that there have been a lot of people out there that could have snapshot it, but if there's other videos that were taken, that might help validate the source as well. But in this day and time, nobody's out walking around. I do want to talk about something. I'm going to see if I can pull it up and share it with you. But hear me out on this, because I posted on my Facebook. And do I sound stupid asking this question? But some people have been getting arrested and ticketed and fined for going to Hawaii and taking pictures of themselves on the beach. Now, these are one person literally from New York to Hawaii. All right. During this lockdown quarantine. Now, they're arresting him and fining him $5,000. My question is, it's not like he could drive there, right? You can't drive to Hawaii. So it's not like he snuck into Hawaii, right? He had to fly in. So where the heck are the authorities forcing quarantine when somebody comes into a place from an airport? I'm sorry. I got a problem buying these stories. I got a problem with either buying the stories or understanding where the authorities are in ensuring these people can't do this. I mean, if you fly into an airport, certainly they know you flew into an airport. So what they're making people do is sign a promise. I promise I won't do this. No, not. People don't keep promises. All right. Lock them up for quarantine until you know that they, 2 weeks, they've tested negative for 2 weeks, then let them loose. But that, I'm sorry.
On an island, a small island like Hawaii, where the consequences can be devastating,
Right. They're devastated over 700 deaths right now. They have over 700 deaths. They're very devastated over that because Hawaii is a family. Hawaii is not, even though it's high tourism, it's a family. But I have to ask myself, who's wrong here? Who's wrong? It's not that tourist that came into the country. It's the authorities. I'm sorry. He should not be fined. He should not be thrown in jail. And if he spread COVID, then shame on the authorities for not implementing the right quarantine policies. You don't want somebody to spread a disease, then you're going to have to, be the unpopular mommy and daddy and do what's right. It's just, I blame the governor.
Yeah. I might just point out one thing that New Zealand has recently passed in, or is in the process of passing into a law, that people who come with on a private boat or a private yacht have to also go through the same strict immigration process. Up till now, that was not the case.
No.
So they've just passed a law that this has to happen, and they will be as strictly examined. They have to, even at jetties and things like that, there will be places where they have to report to. If not, they will be punished, like anybody who sneaks through an airport or a seaport. So, but till now, this law didn't exist. They were given special treatment because they were rich, and we wanted people to spend money. But now we realize that they also bring diseases along with the dollars. So
yeah, disease comes with a lot of things now. Dollars the most dirtiest. But check this out. It was all because he went over there and posted a photo of himself on the beach, right? Man arrested in Hawaii after posting beach photos on Instagram while he was supposed to be quarantined. So my problem with this is if they want to make certain people don't do this, then that's the law. The authorities have to quarantine people. Quarantine means that they put you in and lock you in. I don't know. I don't understand this quarantine crap where they're saying sign a promise. That's not quarantine. That's not quarantine. Quarantine is where you are locked in. And I just...
In New Zealand, it's called self-quarantine, where they ask you to go home and stay in your house for 14 days. And they are saying, their logic is that everybody knows that this disease can kill, and it is extremely uncomfortable. So we expect you to behave like an adult, go home and stay home. That's what they say in New Zealand. Now I don't know.
U.S. It has no common sense.
Neighbors will dob you in if you break that. They know that you've been out of the country, and if they know you've come in from Hong Kong or anywhere else where there has been an outbreak, neighbors will dob you into the police.
There you go.
That's New Zealand, and I believe that's the same in Switzerland also. Switzerland's even worse. It doesn't have to be a pandemic. If you go to a place, and I have a cousin who lives in New Zealand, says when you go to a place, they will very subtly find out, what your visa is and when it expires. And if they see you around for 1 day longer, they will be calling out the police.
Well, and thank you. I mean, let's use some common sense, but respect. Okay, but
I think when you go to a place, you're a guest in that country. You have to follow the laws. Even if you live in a country, you have to follow the laws. You pay taxes so that these laws can be implemented. If you break those laws, you are the nut.
So I got to just ask a question: what the heck was he doing in Hawaii? Why'd they let him over if they weren't going to let him at the beach? I mean, most people go for vacation. So I have a problem. I have a problem with that whole thing. I have a
I think
problem.
he looks like a native Hawaiian from what I can see, and I think that he probably studied in the U.S., main U.S., and then came to Hawaii, and then probably on holidays, and then supposed to self quarantine and didn't do that. He took a photo on the beach, which got him into trouble. My
Well,
guess, what happened?
he used public transportation to get to many places. Okay, so they got public transport. My thing is if the government expects you, there was a couple there on their honeymoon. Why are they letting tour again? Whether he used to live there or not, he lives in New York. This is definitely a vacation trip. This has nothing to do with necessity and business, right? Or essential and business. The honeymooners were the same way. Why are we letting people fly to these places? I mean, it's just no. The people to blame are the government. This is not them. This is the government. I hold the government accountable for that man's actions.
I think so. And perhaps that's I don't know the specifics of this case, but I would say that if you have a rule and you are now the capital of the COVID thing, then you just got to be strict. It was not the time to mess around.
It's not just strict, but don't let people in your walls, right? We're all supposed to be at home, and maybe he falsified why he had to be there, and maybe he should be punished. But at the end of the day, the government let him travel. The government let him in. So if the government has a quarantine policy, set up a hotel that when you arrive, a transportation takes you to the hotel, and you get your butt in that hotel, and you stay there for 2 weeks.
It's what happened in Shanghai. There was this Kiwi guy who his father was ill, so he wanted to go back to New Zealand. He just visited him for a day, and then flew back to Shanghai. So when I left Shanghai, there was a whole lot of checks. When I came back, we were straight away put into a bus. We were, detoxed, whatever they did, all the sprays and things like that, took the temperature. We were put into a hotel, and we were not allowed to leave for, I think it was 10 days at the time. And he was grumbling at the Kiwi government at that time, because they had not yet woken up. And he said that, nobody checked me in New Zealand. I'm coming in from China. You know that there's this virus there, and nobody checked me. They just handed out a pamphlet saying that you need to be quarantined, self-quarantined.
It's kind of like domestic violence protective order. Here's a piece of paper, follow it. Yeah, right.
Later on, Jacinda Ardern woke up and said, but in the beginning, they were just, laid back about it.
So my thing is if you want people to adhere to a certain order, then put in place the mechanisms to adhere to that order. If you believe that a quarantine needs to exist when people enter your borders, then put up a freaking hotel and make them sit in that hotel until the quarantine time is over. All right?
You can do that in countries like the US. In countries like India, where things are we've just overpopulated. It's not possible to control. The building where my sister stays, there is one family in that building who is absolutely doesn't follow any of the rules. And you just think, the government, the state government, has said that we're passing this responsibility of monitoring to the building society. The building society has no legal powers to stop anybody from leaving. So, I do not know. And the police, we have too few police in Mumbai. For a city of 21 million, we have, I know a few years ago, there's only about 25,000 policemen. And I don't think it would have increased to more than 50,000. So how can you monitor a city like that? Because governments have been sleeping on the job for ages.
Well, and there's supposed to be a ratio.
Yes.
Hello, good morning, and good morning to India. But there in Hong Kong, there is there is a ratio in most places. But we even breach our own ratio policies for law enforcement. But it's supposed to be so many officers per, not just capita, but also, you know, square miles or whatever, because you know, managing miles and distance can be just as exhaustive on a law enforcement resources than just people, right? So it may be easier for 5 police officers to manage a small couple blocks, say 10 blocks of a city like Mumbai or New York, whereas you might need, because there's a lot of people, right? But still the same amount of officers are necessary to manage, say, 20 miles of population out in the country, because it's exhaustive, right? You got to drive everywhere. You got to constantly be patrolling. So people don't understand that it's not just about per capita. There is a formula that should be used. It's not always abided by, not even by our own government. So, Mark, welcome to our conversation on Sunday.
Thank you very much. Not bad. I can't complain. Actually, very, very, very busy. I don't know if I told you, I had been in a virtual environment for about 4 years, for about half of my business. And once the word got out that I've already been set up for virtual, everybody that was in normal, well, the old normal, that I would be seeing them live, welcomed it and asked me to do a lot more virtual webinars versus live workshops. And so it's just a compound effect, you know. So here in New Jersey, we still have many deaths, you know, but I live in the area, southern New Jersey, where the death ratio is much less than. My wife was just showing me that people are on the beaches today in New Jersey. It's kind of wild, because I'm listening to what you're saying, and they're not that social distancing like they're supposed to be doing. Okay. I don't know if they think this virus that we don't see just magically went away, which it definitely has not. You know, I look at the numbers every day, and I'm seeing an average of 2,000 people a day on average are passing away. And I said to my son the other day, I said, you know, 2 months ago, these people were alive. Okay. This is a cleansing that we certainly didn't plan on. Okay. Nobody did, but people still have to pay attention to it. I'm hoping that they don't rush into this thing just to get the economics of our country back going, and then it's going to just create this second big wave, you know. And that's what I'm praying for. You know, my thing is, though, I can stay in an office and work 24/7 in here. Not that I like doing that, but I still think that we still need to just. This thing is not. It's not grabbed yet. We don't really have control. We don't have any kind of a vaccine that's created. We're only going by other countries' numbers and our numbers. We're not prepared. I mean, we're totally not prepared for it. You know, I go out and I do see people are wearing the masks. Okay, but I'm watching them wear the mask where it's not funny. But I mean, the mask is underneath their nose. I'm like, come on.
You know, the way they wear their mask, we're better off just changing our costume trend and start wearing Darth Vader costumes. I really do. The way people, I've actually been to the store and I've talked to people. I went finally. I just broke down. We had to go get a few things, and you know, I'm suited up, right? I'm going in prepared, and there are people walking around, no mask, real proud, like, say something to me, you know, with an attitude, right? It is, you can see it. I'm not making it up. It is with an attitude, like, just say something to me. And this one lady had this really bad attitude about it. And she started sneezing all over the place. And her daughter's there, and it was just like, say something. So what? And I'm like, why not just put a mask on? And when you sneeze, we all don't feel like you just contaminated the whole store. At that point, I didn't want to shop anymore. I was done.
Yeah.
I'm out. The people's attitude was way off.
You're in North Carolina, right?
Wearing masks.
You're in North Carolina?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
is it
really bad here?
Is it a more relaxed kind of a state? Has the governor done things like this governor in New Jersey? I have to say that I thought that he's done a great job up to now.
Yeah.
I really do. And I say up to now because I don't think that I don't think it's all about this, unfortunately. Yeah. And the economy in New Jersey, a lot of the money's made this time of year going into September, October. I mean, what's more important is people's lives or is it the money?
But did you watch Kumo's speech the other day?
Who's?
Kumo.
I did. Yeah.
The one about, we can fix the economy, but we can't bring people back to life. That one.
Yeah. Yes.
That is just so perfect. Why is it about me? What about we? And what it's going to kill me. What about me? You could kill me, And then finally, I love what he told him. Fine, there are plenty of essential jobs. Go apply for them. If you have to have a job, you will not be told no if you want to go to the front line and work these jobs. That's tough. But let me ask you this. Are you aware of one of the Supreme Court rulings, I think it was for Michigan, where they pretty much told the governor he has no say-so in a lockdown? So that will have set precedents. So maybe a lot of governors are kind of backing off a little bit so that people don't take them to court and set precedents. But it was in Michigan. And pretty much the governor was told that they don't have any say-so. So Minneapolis, people in Minneapolis, oh my God, now it's going to roll over to us. Minnesota, we can't afford this because we're a cold state. We know that this is going to spread like crazy. So no, it's somebody sued the governor in Michigan, and it's kind of caused a problem.
Here's what I didn't understand: the Senate just ruled $3 billion more out here. I didn't understand that. I mean, we just released $2 trillion.
I didn't get a dime.
$3 trillion.
And I didn't get a dime.
I mean, so I checked did you ever see the U.S. debt clock?
No.
Go to U.S. Everybody here, go to usdebtclock.org.
I've seen it, yeah.
Can you spell that?
Sure. U.S. Debt, DEBT, clock, CLOCK.org.
Got it.
Now, last week I checked, it was at 25.1 trillion and growing every second. Well, we just added 3 trillion more. We were at 23, then we went to 25. Now we're at, I didn't check it today, but it's
up there.
We got approved, but out of nowhere. I mean, why do we need to have this stimulus? What I think it's doing is, and I don't want to play politics here. I don't think we needed to do that. I didn't think we needed to dilute our dollar as bad as it is diluted. I mean, even more so. Because do you ever think this money is going to come back from somewhere? It's not. We are just burying ourselves further and further into the ground.
Well, and this is what bothered me is I applied for it up front. Like I got a confirmation number and I did not see one penny. I know people with bigger companies. I'm a smaller, and so this has hurt me completely. I have no more revenue. None, done. And I'm not able to pay anybody. We were supposed to it was supposed to immediately come to us a check to be able to pay payroll. Not a dime. And I was early. I have
an idea. I mean, if you donate to your government in some way, you'll get the money.
Oh, well, you know, I will take, well, wait, I did get a stimulus like the for the family check. I just didn't get the business check. But Donald Trump sent me a donation, a request for donation of $1,200 back.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
So,
People who are donating.
So I get this, I get a letter from him saying, you know, how great he was, that he, you know, make sure we remember this in November. And then he sends me this after we got our check, and it's a little keychain, right? A little plastic keychain, and it's asking for $1,200 for the keychain. Here, carry this and support me. This is your membership. This is a membership card, right? Look at it. It's a membership card. And I guess it's supposed to give me something. I haven't figured out what, but I'm supposed to give it.
Can you find sanitizers or mask in the envelope? Is there any mask or sanitizer?
So my thing was if he had sent me masks, or if he had sent me test kits. Here, every household in the country gets 1 month supply of testing so that you can test every day so we can contain this. That I would probably go, okay, he's just won my campaign support. I would probably send money in for that. But no, you know, that was
surprised. I'm surprised you haven't gotten, you applied. Did you go to a bank? Or did you go through a bank's website?
No, I did the SBA PPP, which was fill out this form, give us your bank account, we'll put your money in there. That's all it was supposed to do. It was a 10K stamp. That's it. It was a pre-stamp. It was that simple. There was the bigger application, but I didn't feel like we needed it. I felt like that we could withhold with just a little bit.
Were you a decline or just nobody's gotten to you?
Never got it.
Kim, did you vote to Trump? Did you vote for Trump last time?
No, I did not.
That's why. That's why I didn't get it.
I did not.
I did. I did. As much as I worked for him for 17 and a half years. I don't know if I told you that. I worked in one of his casinos in Atlantic City. I was a pit manager.
Oh, yeah, pit manager.
Yeah, and he always bragged about. If you saw his campaign, he bragged about how wonderful he treated his employees. He gave them the best health care. He gave them the best everything. See, a little while ago, you put up that little keychain. That little keychain you put up. He gave us that keychain for our Christmas present 1 year. That was our employee Christmas gift. If you drove into our garage and you parked in the one of the levels of the garage, they gave you that same keychain. Everybody. Well, that was our present for our good job, because the casino made a killing that year, did a wonderful job, made a lot of money. He gave us that keychain. That was our gift. I couldn't understand that. It didn't make any sense. But the fact remains, it's going to be a Democrat or it's going to be a Republican. Either way, these guys, there's a clash. They don't get it. I mean, I still don't understand. How could you approve $3 trillion more dollars for what? You know, unless they just, I don't know. I just think they need to try to train people to stay home and work from home. I mean,
well, there's a lot of jobs that can't. Okay, and fine. Train them to work in their environment. That's rule number one. And like somebody wrote to me last night, they're very, very scared because they are considered essential, right? And they're in a big facility, and already 8 of the people have fallen ill with COVID and have tested positive in this environment that's open, and the people are moving around, and they say that they cleanse it every night. They close early, cleanse it every night, and then people come back to work the next day. But already 8 have tested. And her question to me was, and I told her just to file a complaint with OSHA, because OSHA now has rules. But she asked me, she goes, up to how many employees or what ratio before they just say nobody else come back to work for a while? Because she said, I am so scared, but I can't quit my job. If I quit my job, I don't get money. Because I'm considered essential, I can work. So she can't just say, I feel like it's for my safety, I'm going to stay at home and then maybe get a check. But that $1,200 check is nothing. This is what I tell people. It was nothing. It was better than some, but here's what he could have done. All right. You want to get early detection, early treatments to prevent the overload at the hospitals and containment. right? Isolate and contain the big fires. So you do daily testing. We've been saying this from day one. In fact, Nick said it. Let's get COVID certification out there. I mean, back in March 14th, the first day we had a show. But you do daily tests, even if they're not 100%. If you do them every day, you're gonna catch people that are sick. You're gonna treat them early, and then people are allowed to go back to work. There are several strains, so yeah, people are going to get reinfected, but still, again, early detection. People get tested every day for diabetes. This is no big deal. All right, just get tested every day and contain it. That would have allowed people. It would have cost us less because the test kits, kid you not, the test kits are $10 for 25 pack. So we can ask them to put 5 more in there and have a 30-day pack. People can test every day, and we can contain it. That's early detection for treatments, early treatment, and just controlling. Then you train people about going back to work, not train people to stay home. I agree with you. A lot of people can work from home, but there are a lot of essential jobs that can't. They can't.
Well, you saw that Wuhan has another wave now. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you see that? But they said that they're going to test every single person in that city. Yeah, in the city. Okay. I don't know how many million people there are, but I mean, and I think it's wonderful. They can do that. We should be able to do it as well. Yeah, you know,
Trump does it. Trump tests every day. Trump gets tested every day.
Okay. Well, that's essential. I mean, he's the president, but we should be just as equally have the right to do the same. You know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah.
Thank you. We have, you know, just because he's president doesn't make him more special than you. Or
I agree. You know what? My wife brought something up the other day, which I thought was so smart. And I don't want to get off the tangent, but she said, we rely so much on China for everything. You know, everything's made in China, just about.
Everything.
If we just cut it off and brought it over to Mexico, where we have a lot of illegal immigrants coming into our country all the time that, you know, we need them because Americans are lazy in our agriculture areas. Other, you know, where there's landscape, where there's, you know, help in, you know, working in hotels and whatnot. Yeah, maybe a lot of them are illegal, and I don't think our government knows that. But the fact remains, if we brought all of the industry over into Mexico, they're right here. They're attached to the United States. We gave all these people jobs that really are hurting and need jobs. They would never want to leave their country. We have so much that we depend on in China. You know, even like our metals, we will take all of our recycled metal, okay, ship it over to China, okay, and then buy it all back. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. It's ludicrous. It really doesn't make any sense.
So I want to ask you, you know, we spent $2.2 trillion for the stimulus package. And a lot of it, actually, people don't know this, but a lot of it did go to big corporations, and a lot of it did go to the airlines. There was some set aside for small businesses. The only money left over right now is for agriculture. A lot of people don't know that, seeing how we're on the subject of just. And so if people, the only available funds right now is not for small businesses, it is for agriculture. I'm okay with that. We need to sustain our agriculture people.
Sure.
We don't need to let them to go down, but they are considered essential. There's no reason for them to be going under for lack of revenue. So I'm not quite sure I understand this, because they're employees, they're healthier being outside. They can go to work. They can be far apart. You can distance in agriculture. You don't have to be next to each other. So I'm a little curious. I would like for maybe somebody could research why that was necessary. Agriculture struggles every year anyway, but right now they should be booming. Bringing from farm to table foods in their local communities should just really be, somebody should have gotten smart being able to deliver the food directly to a lot of the houses. But but I just wanted to let the world know that there is still money for the farmers, but not for small businesses that no longer exist.
Wow. Blew me away.
What?
I see, and I have a lot of these conversations with my wife. By the way, I've had more conversations with my wife live than on the phone for the last 18 years. Yeah, it's a great thing. It's a great thing. You know, there's a lot of positive that's come out of this as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's take a look at the positives. I'm not spending as much money as I used to. I traveled 85% of the time. Not spending that money. So yeah, no. I mean, you're right. There are a lot of positives. There are. I just wish that, you know, we could dwell on them more than the negatives, because there's a lot of positives out there, and I think there's a much more positive than negative. Just that we remember the negative all the time, and the positive stuff goes away, you know. But it's a continual conversation that we have. Like I see my wife in the morning. Okay, then I come into my office and I'm here. I'll come down and have lunch with her. Okay, go back. I'll walk my dog. I'll do something outside for a little while, you know. But then I'm back in front, and then I'm done in the evening. You know, it's a much more better run home, I have to say, with me here. With taking so many things for granted, so much time. I don't know if anybody else is in the same boat, but I realize, my God, I miss a lot, you know, and you can't take back time. You really can't. And actually my work has picked up, so I don't get to see my family as much or speak with them as much, because we're really trying to make this happen, but get the information out there. And we've had so many guests like yourself that bring so much value that Ankit and I decided to keep it going. But we've got people starting new TV shows, and we're working nonstop to make sure those TV shows go without a hitch or go smooth. And nothing ever goes without a hitch. But you know, this is good. This is what I preach to people. This is in my book, that you can't get back that time. So spend as much time with your family when you can. We have a rule. We're not about the Hallmark holidays, you know, because sometimes it doesn't happen for us. But we're about the quality of time that we're together, right? So when we're together, phones down.
I like that.
But it's all about what kind of quality do we put together, and it's hard practice, because when your business is booming and you're running, you're constantly thinking about it. People don't understand the mentality of an entrepreneur, and you know, that you constantly have to be thinking, and it's a discipline, and I'm not 100% good at it. So fortunately, my family is very understanding and have been very understanding. But you know, you're right. This is the time this is what I keep telling people. Remember all those days when you were driving to work, you were saying to yourself, I wish I could stay home just to do a few things.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if you didn't take advantage of this time, then shame on you, because you wished for it, you know. And like you said, you've been working from home for years, right? Or you've had this discipline. That's a hard discipline. It really is. Because people don't understand that. They think when you work from home that you get to do all your chores all day. No, it's not like that. You know, I don't get to go break away and cook. I work just like you would work in an office. You know, it's all discipline. You know,
I'm driving with my wife 2 days ago, and we're watching. This really did make sense. I have to say, a positive thing that some states are doing, with a lot less people on the roads right now. Our roads in our country, a lot of them are very old and need to be repaved. I was told that Trump told everybody, get out there. This is the time to pave. Yeah, here it is. Some governors listened and some didn't. In New Jersey, I have to say that they listened. They are doing it here in New Jersey. because now's the time. I mean, everything else, these guys would have to wait till 12 o'clock at night and work. Now is the time. Get this infrastructure back to where
those
it's
potholes, darn it. Fix those potholes. You know, I went to the doctors. It was 2 months for me but I have to go for monthly treatments, but they finally figured it out. And so I could go, and I was on my way, and sure enough, there were road constructions going on. It didn't take me a long time to get there because of traffic. It was like there were road constructions I had to stop for, but I was happy to see that.
Yeah.
I was like, good for you that you're doing this when we're not trying to get to work or, now I was not upset about it at all. I was very happy to see that. I don't know if they're doing it all over North Carolina. I have not seen anybody on our country road out here, which always needs a little work, but, you know, I saw them going to the hospital. So yeah.
Where in North Carolina are you?
So I'm in Raleigh.
Oh, okay. Off of 95?
Off of, I don't even know anymore. I'm in the north end where 545 and the airport, near the airport.
Okay. Nice.
So 545 kind of gets everybody connected, you know, it loops around Raleigh now. But yeah, I'd say I'm near the airport, but there's no air traffic where we are.
I have an airport, a community airport, Atlantic City Airport, around probably about 10 minutes from my home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I passed it, and I see all these Spirit airline planes parked, and I recently had to call Spirit because my wife and we were going to be going away using Spirit during Easter break, and we had to cancel it, obviously, because of the COVID. And they only gave you so much time to book another trip. They would not, although these airlines have gotten all of this stimulus back.
A lot of money.
They are not refunding what unless you paid an extra insurance for that ticket, which we didn't do.
That was wrong. Wrong.
Yeah. So they want you to book a trip. They extended it for another year. And they just won't they won't put it back on your credit card. They're just, $1,800. I'll use it somewhere down the road for the four of us. But if you don't use it, you lose it. But you have a year to use it. So that's how it works.
And so, I mean, I hate saying this, and God forbid, not for you, but what about all the people who died that had plane tickets? I mean, what happens there? You know, so I have an issue with this because they were given
Never thought about that.
The stimulus. They were given billions of dollars, not millions, billions of dollars were set aside in three formats. So people don't understand this. In the stimulus, the airlines received opportunity to get money in three formats. So there was the loan, and there was a grant, and I forget what the third one was. I'd have to go back and read it all over again. But they were given three opportunities to get large chunks of money. So
wow.
They're flying at 50%, more than 50% in the U.S.
Well, they're certainly stingy about giving you a refund. They certainly don't want to give it up.
Well, that should have been wrong, because the minute they considered this a national emergency situation, the state, what is it they call it, the national state of emergency, all of that should have been awarded back to the people. That happens in the States. Say we have a hurricane coming in, but until the governor calls it a state of an emergency, we cannot get refunded if we had a hotel booked, right?
Right.
But as soon as the governor says, okay, I am declaring a state of emergency, then we can call and they give us a refund. It has never been, just rebook another ticket back with us or anything. They're required to give us a refund. I'm
surprised that the government has not stepped up in our state to make sure these airlines are following an ethical protocol. Okay, more than anything else. Well, I don't see it, but they should have. That's something I didn't even think about, but I'm taking it for granted. Okay, well, as much as I fly, which is usually about once or twice a month, I'm sure it will be used.
You'll use it, but it's going to cost you more. It's not probably going to be refunded back to you as a one-on-one, and you'll end up spending money using it. In some cases, when they're doing that, you probably pay a fee. I'm sure that they've got fees attached to it.
Oh,
Something I've noticed now, if you the restaurants that are reopening, they have a COVID fee, a COVID tax.
Wow.
So, yeah, somebody sent me a receipt to show me that they are now charging a COVID tax.
How do they figure out that tax?
It's about half of what the state tax is. So it's like 3%.
I don't know. I got to have a conscience here. It sounds to me like they don't have a conscience.
Well, no. So, I mean, and I want to talk about some of the things that you probably came on the show to talk about, because I know that you can actually guide us into becoming smarter, better with our money. But I don't know if you remember this, but many, many years ago, when there was a landline telephone services, remember those days, back in those days? Did you ever really read your phone bill?
Not really, no.
Okay, shame on you. So this is my background, okay? And I actually got this changed, but in the telecom industry, but there was a fee called FCC fee. Do you remember that?
I do.
Do you know what that was for?
No idea.
What did you think it was for?
Fried chicken and enchiladas. Who knows?
Country food, right? Fried chicken and country food. No, so most people, FCC fee, you would think what? The money goes to where?
Something with the government.
But you thought, mentally, you thought it was okay, right? It's an